discussing module 5th, that is alimony and maintenance. So both are the same term. Alimony is an amount given by one party to another party to follow the ordinary pursuit of his life or to maintain his life. So this maintenance is of two kind. That is, one is maintenance pedantry light and another is maintenance permanent maintenance. So pedantry light, pedantry in the sense pending and light in the sense litigation. So if there is case between the parties to the marriage and case is pending, one party may claim from other the expenses of the litigation as well as the maintenance till disposal of the litigation. So during the pendency of the litigation, in short, maintenance pedantry light is nothing but the maintenance claimed by party to the marriage for the expenses which he incurred during the pendency of the litigation. And after finality of the case, court will award maintenance. That maintenance is called as permanent maintenance. So then we have to see here who are entitled to maintenance. So maintenance can be claimed by wives, children, parents, as well as all personal laws consist the provision for maintenance. Hindu law, Muslim law, Christian law, Parsi law. In each and every personal law, there is a provision of maintenance because it is the principle of natural law that to maintain the persons who are depends upon the another person. That's what this provision is there in every personal law. Then we have to see what are the codified legislations in the area providing maintenance other than personal laws. So the Hindu Marriage Act is also having provision of maintenance, Special Marriage Act as well as personal law. But apart from the personal law, whether there are any secular laws awarding maintenance. So yes, there are certain secular laws awarding maintenance. Those laws are, anybody knows any secular law providing for the provisions relating to maintenance. Criminal Procedure Code is a secular law giving maintenance to all, irrespective of religion, because it is a secular law. So even though personal law mandates for maintenance, even state by enacting secular law made the provision or imposed obligation on the person to maintain his dependents. And one of such legislation is Criminal Procedure Code. Any other, are you aware, apart from Criminal Procedure Code, any other legislations making provision for giving maintenance? Comment in chat box. Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. Whether you listen the name of these legislations somewhere, Domestic Violence Act in short, the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 is a secular legislation making provision for maintenance to the persons who are living in domestic relationship. That we will see during the act that what domestic relationship is, who are entitled to maintenance under this act, because the word indicate the act indicates the word woman, then whether males were entitled to maintenance under this act and what are the judgment over these issues that we will see. Then one another legislation, secular, providing maintenance is the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2007. Now, this act is exclusively enacted for conferring maintenance on parents and senior citizens. Two categories were made, parents and senior citizens. The liability of parents was conferred upon their children, but the liability of senior citizen is conferred upon state. So there were, we can say, three secular legislations apart from religious or personal law providing for maintenance to the dependents. One is Criminal Procedure Code, another is the Domestic Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005, and third is the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act of 2007. And so these three legislations, secular and personal laws of each particular religion. Say, if we took the example of Hindu law, a Hindu person is entitled to maintenance under five different laws. If, of course, if he fit into the provision of those law, if he get eligible as per the provision of that law, at first he is entitled under Hindu Marriage Act during pendency of litigation as well as permanent alimony. Secondly, he is entitled under Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. Thirdly, he is entitled under Criminal Procedure Code. Fourthly, protection of women from domestic violence. And if he is a senior citizen or parents, then he can also avail the maintenance under Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act. So these are the five legislations. Of course, their sections latter tell that who is entitled and under what circumstances. Now, because of this multiple legislations providing for maintenance, the question arises whether person can claim maintenance under two different laws at the same point of time, and whether the all orders go concurrently. So the answer for this question is given in affirmative by the court. Later we will see that decision. The order of maintenance can go if it is claimed under two different laws. However, the amount of maintenance can be changed by the court by taking into account the factor that he is already awarded maintenance, he or she, under different law. So that we will see. Okay. So here we have to see the provisions relating to alimony and maintenance under module 5. This module is devoted exclusively for maintenance. Now we will go to module 6. Now this module covers two aspects. The last module, one is adoption and another is guardianship. So what adoption is and when it is required. Now this concept of adoption is not recognized by Muslim personal law. So the concept is exclusively the part of Hindu law. Latter other secular legislations provided for adoptions, thereby even other persons can adopt. Other in the sense professing other religions, Christian, Muslim, Parsi, etc. But what adoption is and why it is required. Yes, comment in chat box whether you heard about adoption. Chat box is active, waiting for your comments. Adoption is a process. Yes, even I earlier posted one judgment of Madras High Court relating to adoption, isn't it? in our classroom. That adoption is this and this, adoption means such and such. So adoption is a process wherein the parents or married couple, or even in certain situations unmarried person, are entitled to adopt a child. Now, for what sake adoption can be made, why it is necessary, what is the purpose of adoption, that we will see. But the law relating to adoption is Hindu Adoption. Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. So two aspects were covered, adoption and maintenance under this act. Then the question is, what are the requirements of valid adoptions? Who can adopt? Whom can be adopted? Who can give an adoption? Three questions we have to study there, because the adoption involves three persons. One person taking in adoption, another person giving in adoption, and third one is person who is adopted. So the essentials or eligibilities were laid down by the act for these three persons to make the adoption valid, and whether any registration is required for adoption, whether ceremonies are required for adoptions to make the adoptions valid, and most importantly, what is the legal effect of adoption. After adoption, what will be the legal consequences on all these three persons: person giving, taking, and person adopted. Yes, comment was so late. Adoption is made by the childless person, maybe due to the network or maybe due to some reasons. Adoption is made by childless person, not in all the cases. For under Hindu law, of course, the purpose is, yes, adoption can be made by childless person, but for what sake the adoption is to be made? Leave it. Okay. So, validity of adoption, the person giving, taking, and adopted, the ceremonies, when adoption is complete, at what moment it is said that adoption is completed, effect of adoption, then right of adoptive parent to dispose of their property, adoptive, those who are taken in adoption, as well as those who given in adoption. So their right. And another aspect, a new secular adoptions that we have to study here. Secular adoption in the sense, because earlier the adoption is only recognized under Hindu law. Then the question will arise, what is to be done if the Hindu want to adopt a Muslim child and vice versa? Adoption in foreign countries, Christian Hindus adopting Christian children, or Christian couples from foreign adopting Indian Hindu child, whether Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act applicable in such situation. So this led to a public interest litigation. And later, in Lakshmikant Pandey versus Union of India, Supreme Court laid down the exhaustive guidelines to regulate inter-country adoptions, and the law relating to secular adoption was thereby developed, and Government of India, Ministry of Child and Women and Child Development prepared a separate agency for regulating secular adoption. That agency is called as Central Adoption Regulatory Authority. that is called as CARA, or in short it is called as CARA. So this authority is established under the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. This authority had laid down certain guidelines for regulating inter-country adoptions as well as secular adoptions. So adoptions beyond Hindu law, if has to be made, it has to be made as per the CARA guidelines. That we will see in detail what CARA guidelines are. So foreign adoptions are recognized by these guidelines. So of course adoption of foreign parents are recognized now, because earlier there were no law. So business of adoption was flourished in India, particularly by foreign parents adopting Indian children. So the guardians, because if we see later who can give in adoption, the word guardian is used, not father and mother. What is the difference between guardian and father and mother, or parents and guardian? Or who can be a guardian? That's what we have to see the law relating to Minority and Guardianship Act. Minority is linked with guardianship. Guardianship is required if the person is minor, because what is the legal status of minor? What is the legal status of minor? Comment. Chat box is vacant today, except one or two comments. He, she is dependent. Legal status of minor. Even you are having Indian Contract Act. There also this question is important. What is the legal status of minor? मायनरचं कायदेशीर अस्तित्व काय? Below 18 years of age, that is medical status, age, but it is dependent. Dependent in the sense, is dependent on somebody else legally under certain age. Yes, because of he is under certain age, what is his legal status? Because age is the factor which decides the legal status of the person. Because law recognized certain persons, existence of certain persons. So, how law treat minors? His contracts void, yes. So, minors contracts are void. It means the legal status of minor is legally disabled. Are you getting? Unsound mind person is again different category, because person who is not minor can be unsound mind. Hmm? Unsound mind is another different category that is related to mental capacity. Concept of minority is relating to age, is related with age. Unsound mind is not related with age. Even person of 50 years of age, 50, can be unsound mind. So the legal status of minor is, keep in mind, legal status of minor is legally disabled. Legally disabled in the sense he cannot initiate legal proceedings. He cannot go to court and file a case. He cannot sell his property. He cannot purchase. Sale purchase is related to contract, because sale or purchase is a contract, and you know now that minor's contracts are void. Why void? Because minor is legally disabled. He cannot accord consent. Consent is an essential element of the contract. That is the aspect of law of contract. But here, for sake of guardianship, we are talking about the being recognized the disability of legal disability of minor. To make him legally disabled, what should be done? Suppose he is a minor but he is having property and he want to sell that property, then minor is legally disabled. How minor can be made legally able so that he can enter into a contract, so that he can purchase his property, so that he can open a bank account, even it is a contract with bank. Minor cannot open an account in bank on their own. To open a bank account, what is to be required? Comment. To make minor legally able, what is the way? What is the solution? Minor is a singer and he want to enter into a contract with a production house, with a director. So he cannot enter into a contract. If he entered contract is void. But to make his contract valid, what is to be done? Otherwise, minor suffer a loss because even though he is not at fault, because of his age, he cannot enter into a contract. The director hired somebody else, or otherwise it will be an injustice to the minor. Then what is to be done? To make the minor able before legal authorities. What can do? Law prescribing the age of majority. That's it. His guardians may do legal work on behalf of him. Yes. So, the solution to make minor legally able is to appoint guardian for him. Then the question will arise, who is guardian? What are the requisites for guardianship? What are the duties of guardian, kinds of guardian, etc. To resolve this conflict, a law is there, that is Minority and Guardianship Act. Now the question is, this law is only applicable to Hindu because it says Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act. There are minors even in other community. How their transactions will be dealt with? Is there any other legislation apart from Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act dealing with the guardianship? If you are aware, if you listen somewhere, comment. Yes, apart from Hindu Minority Guardianship Act, this is the legislation, being a secular legislation, deals with the guardianship among all communities. That legislations also we have to be observed in this module 6. Yes, comment. Apart from entered in that legislation is guardianship and WhatsApp. The question is too difficult that this is the first year of you all in law. Guardianship under Muslim law regulates the Muslim guardians among Muslims. The question is whether secular legislation is there. The legislation is guardianship and WhatsApp Act is applicable to Muslim, Hindu, Christian, all. So, two legislations were there again. One is guardianship and what's, and another is Hindu minority guardianship. Similarly, in Muslim law, Muslim personal law relating to guardianship as well as guardianship what's act. So one is special legislation, another is general. So here also there can be a conflict. We will see later how that conflict is to be removed. So guardianship is required not only for entering into a contract on behalf of other, but even for filing a case into the court. Now the question is when the situation will arise that minor will have to approach to the court. मायनरचं काय काम करतात मायनर कशाला केस करेल कुणावर कधी मायनरवर वेळ येईल केस दाखल करण्याची any instance that when situation will arise that minor has to approach to the court, whether he can file a case or whether case can be filed against minor, because minor is legally disabled not only for the contract but even for legal process, even in legal proceedings. So you have to, when he is successor of property, if he is a successor of property, there is no need to go into the court. The succession operate after the death. And if somebody denied his right, then yes, he can go to the court. Another instance, yes, successor of property and his right is denied. He can go to the court. But whether he can file the case on his own, again there, he has to appoint a guardian to file a case. And suppose you want to file a case against the guardian himself, herself, because guardian themselves denied his right, then court will appoint the guardian. So one another aspect is a minor claiming compensation in accidental death. You have to see the law of tort in second semester. Study carefully two legislation. One is law of crime and another is law of tort. So crime you are having recently. So age factor is also relevant in crime. Whether minor can commit a crime. Yes. What is the role of age? Because age has been treated differently by different legislations. For marriage, age are different. For contract, age are different. For employment, ages are different. For crime, age is different. For voting, age is different. And for consuming liquor, even age is prescribed. So each law treats the factor of age differently. At least now there were uniformity in majority laws. Only hardly 2 to 3 laws treat it differently. But in crime, what is the role of age of the accused, not of the victim? No question of the age of victim. Victim means in crime, two words you must be familiar with: accused and victim. Who is accused? Everybody know. Accused is a person who commits crime, alleged to have been committed a crime. And who is victim? Comment. Who is victim? Because we had finished to discuss all the modules. From tomorrow we will go to first module. That is nature and application of Hindu law. A person who is harmed. Yes, a person against whom crime is committed. Because if we talking in the sense of criminal law, the accused is a criminal law. Harm need not be a crime all the time. Harm may be different. Harm may be of civil nature. Victim is sufferer, yes, sufferer. But apart from sufferer, etc., because these are liberal terms. Sufferer means what? Sufferer may be a sufferer of civil consequences. If somebody denied admission into the college, he is a sufferer. Whether he is a victim, the word victim is used in the context of crime. So, victim is a person against whom crime has been committed, because the CRPC defines the word victim for the purpose of crime. Okay, so we are discussing the Role of age in crime, as per your general knowledge, not as per IPC, that what you heard about the factor of age in crime, particularly age of accused, again, not the age of victim. There can be a victim even he is not born. The child in mother's womb can be a victim. 319 IPC and PCP NDT Act. Preconception Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Prevention Act. Recognize the unborn child, female foeticide. So, the age of victim is not the question. The question is age of accused. Yes, accused meaning to say that somebody has we seen what is who is accused, who is victim. We are at the next question, that what is the role played by the age of the accused in criminal law? 7 to 12. What is that? Shivani. 7 to 12 years. काय पण पुढे? Child of 7 to 12 years is, if the age of accused is within 7 to 12, yes, minority is a defense for crime. But minority is below 18 years, whether it is a defense. If the child of 17 years commits a crime, whether it is a defense, no, then how minority is not a defense? That's what specific age is laid down. Shivan is right, 7 to 12, but what next? If the age of accused is between 7 to 12, then but if the age of accused is below 7 and above 12, क्या सर्च करतायत काय? गुगल मध्ये सर्च करतायत काय? वेळ लागतोय कमेंटला. If he is above 12, court will decide. Yes. If he is above 12, no defense is available. He has to be produced before a child court, that is Juvenile Justice Board. विधी संघर्षित बालके व कायदा मराठीत. If the child is above 12 and below 18, a separate court is established, that is Juvenile Justice Board. They were not court, but they were called as board, JJB. Juvenile Justice Board is established under Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2002, now amended 2006 somewhere. Even recent amendment was there, I think. So, what is if he is below 12 and below 7? Still we have 3 minutes left. You may search, because from tomorrow we have to start with the actual teaching of our module first. I think I had posted the presentation of module first into the Google Classroom. Is it so? Whether I had posted, if he is below 7, he is not guilty. Okay, support laga. It is absolute defense. If the child is below 7 years of age, it is absolute defense. Absolute defense in the sense he cannot be prosecuted for the offense or the crime. And if he is above 7 and below 12, then his maturity of understanding will be judged by the court. Of course, by Juvenile Justice Board. Remand home is not the word. It is the Juvenile Justice Board, and they were kept in a protection homes. Though practically it is called as remand home, but remand home is not the word appropriate. So his maturity of understanding will be decided by the Juvenile Justice Board if he is above 7 below 12, and later it will be decided whether he can be prosecuted or not. That's what 7 to 12 is qualified defense, and below 7 is absolute defense. Above 12, no defense, but court is different till 18, and above 18, regular courts. So these are the segregations in age made by the different laws in respect of the child. So it starts from 7 years. Below 7, child could not be arrested even though he commits a murder, provided he must not be used by other persons. If A, with the help of child below age of 7 years, commits a crime, child will be exempted, but the person who instigated child or taken aid of the child can be prosecuted for the offense of abetment. So that doesn't mean child below 7 years of age is not liable, means the child himself herself not liable, but if person uses that child, the person is liable. If the child on himself done, then the question is different. So we had discussed the all module 6 from the family law first, right from nature and application to adoption and guardianship, marriages, divorce, maintenance, foreign marriages, the different legislations of different communities. So these entire 6 modules cover this kind of vast syllabus. So from tomorrow we will start with the module first, that is nature and application of Hindu law. Whether you have presentation of nature and application of Hindu law in classroom, please check, because I had posted there, because through mobile it is not possible for me to share the presentation as well as my presenter's view. From mobile we can either share presentations or share presenter's view. So it is appropriate that you can see me and see the presentation offline which is already posted. So you may take the printouts, or if you are having laptop, you may open it on laptop in another window. But if you are having mobiles, then you have to get the printout and keep it in front of you. See what is appropriate for you. Okay, so I'm leaving the call. See you tomorrow. Bye.